everybody. Welcome to the Mermaid podcast. We have a very special guest today. This is a special edition of the Mermaid podcast. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell the people who you are and why you're here?
Sure, I'd love to. Hello, my name is Hasan Hai. I'm the founder and president of the Newfoundland and Labrador Beard and Mustache Club, and lately I'm what we call a MerBy, or a Newfoundland variant of a merman.
This is the best thing that's ever happened to me. Okay, so I'm just gonna break this down for some of the Americans on here. Okay, so you're from Canada.
I am.
Canada. Okay, great. You're also a merman.
I am.
Yes, and you're also the president of a beard club.
A beard and mustache club.
Beard and mustache.
Yeah, we don't discriminate.
Okay, and then I need to break down into a MerBy.
A MerBy.
So
yeah.
What's the by part?
So there's a term in Newfoundland, like a B apostrophe Y.
Okay.
So once upon a time, it would have stood for boy. Now I know in an American context there's like some racial connotations there.
Yeah.
So it's similar to the word buddy.
Okay.
So you would use it in everyday conversation, talking to men or women.
Okay.
So you would refer to your friends as bi.
Okay.
And then one of my friends, actually the lady who crafted this this tale, Claire Fowler.
Thanks, Claire.
Claire, hey Claire. Great artist, and she referred to us as the MerBys, and it just stuck. And it was so what we are, because I mean everyone like it's done in Newfoundland, which is the easternmost province in Canada. Look it up; you'll be surprised that there's actually human habitation that far east.
I was fascinated to see. Okay, so wait, we were talking about the Titanic sunk off the coast. What else happens there?
Well, apparently there's fellows dressing as mermen as well. Yeah,
okay,
lots of good things.
Okay, so and part of the reason why you're dressed as a merman is because you have a calendar coming up.
Correct.
Okay, can you tell us about what the calendar is, what it's raising money for, and then I have a lot of questions.
Sure thing.
Okay.
So how this started is that, let's go back to what the Beard Club is about.
Okay.
So it's not just, and actually it's mostly not a vanity club.
Okay.
It's not a matter of just us going there and stroking their beards and driving people crazy.
Yeah.
It's actually it's a social group for people to get together.
Okay.
And what we do regularly we meet every month, at least once a month, and we talk about things we can do in our community to give back. Fundraisers, some form of social good. That's the point of the club.
Okay.
If it was just a vanity thing, it'd be like, the Kind Eyes Club or the Leather Jacket Club.
Yeah.
I mean, it gets boring pretty quick.
Like when people kind of get all their cars together and they just talk about how nice their cars are?
Yeah.
Okay.
So typically what they'll do though is like, okay, let's do a fundraiser. So we'll do a car show and then we'll raise money for whatever.
Okay.
So what we do is we meet monthly, and it's a social gathering. New people come all the time.
Okay.
And we've done a couple fundraisers. We formed our club in January of this year.
Okay.
So a relatively new club.
Yeah.
And we did a few fundraisers, some supporting mental health, some supporting the local food bank, and raised a few $100s here and there.
Okay.
And then in the late August, so a good friend of mine from Ottawa, Aaliyah, hey Aaliyah.
Hey Aaliyah.
She had posted my Facebook timeline.
Okay.
And it was a dudeoir photo, if you're familiar with
so like instead of boudoir, it's dudeoir.
Dudeoir,
okay.
yeah. So it's a little take.
Exactly.
So this is my life now.
Yeah, no, this is great. This sounds like everything I wanted.
So I will, after this interview, I don't recall who did it, but I'll give you the credits for the photographer there of that.
Okay.
But basically it was a big bearded guy, kind of like the white version of me, posing in a merman suit, like on a beach.
Oh, and did he have some flowers in his hair?
There were other scenes like that as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was a brilliant photo,
Yeah.
and so she shared it. She's like, Hasan, you should do something like this.
Yeah.
Everyone's behind that.
Okay.
So Monday I announced that, hey, we're going to do this calendar.
Yeah.
I still don't know how,
Yeah.
and we're going to support this cause.
Great.
And then that was like September the 6th. And in, what are we now, 2 months later?
Yeah.
And
It's November.
And so now there's a bit of a story in between, but that's how it all started.
Okay, great. So you had this idea. You happen to also meet a charity that you wanted to support.
Yes.
And you just put it all together.
Yes.
And now there is a merman calendar. Okay, so now I have some questions.
As I'm sure you do.
So first of all, the photos, if anybody's seen them, it's been all over the news. That's how I found you. Like it's been on BuzzFeed, it's been on HuffPost, it's been on Mashable, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Jimmy Fallon should be calling.
It's not too late.
Not too late, Jimmy. But how did the photos? I think part of what is so appealing is the photos they're beautiful photos, and also everyone in them looks like they're having the most fun ever. Okay, so first of all, how did you get the photographer? And then I want you to talk about what it was like for the men that participated in this calendar shoot.
So, first thing is, there's no acting involved.
Okay.
That joy is real.
Good.
Everyone is having a wild, insane, hilarious time.
Yes.
The photographers, there were 9 photographers total. So the goal was, initially, I had like 35 different things I wanted to accomplish because I just have that crazy mind.
Yeah.
And one of them is to get a bunch of photographers involved in this project and not just one.
Yeah.
So we ended up at the end of the day there were 9 different photographers covering 12 photo shoots.
Okay.
So a few of them did more than 1 month.
Okay.
And so we had them there. A lot of photographers involved. As far as the models, that's their official.
That's cute.
So we had 25 or so different models because every month, most months have more than one MerBy featured.
Right, because it's about having like your gang, like your friends around.
The buys there,
right, yeah.
So it just so happened that we had so many. I'm like, well, at this stage, I didn't want to do like one featured. Like it was not intended to be like the sexy merman calendar. Right. It just so happens that we are also extremely good looking.
Everyone, by the way, is extremely attractive, and I like. Never been so attracted to so many burly men in merman tails. I didn't know it was a thing that could happen.
We didn't know we would be so attracted to so
yeah,
many burly men.
I know. I was like, oh my god, this is like I was like, screw People magazine and like their 50 most beautiful people. This is the calendar I've been wanting. I've been buying the fireman calendar for too many years.
So one of the other things that we really wanted, so as far as how everyone was, the joy and all that, so I was kind of like the artistic director as well. Photographers were great, but the thing was that there was very little guidance before. It's like, we're doing this thing, and so I'm in the calendar as well. Yeah. But for every other shoot, I was sort of consulting, and I knew what kind of angle I wanted. Yeah. And in most cases was, okay, no, tell him, whisper, tell him secrets, blow him kisses, hold hands, look coy, so something's happened, and a lot of this here. And so the whole point of it is that I wanted to convey a few different messages. Okay. One of them was about body positivity. Yeah. And it's that, I refer to myself as size voluptuous. Yes. Yeah. With the extra emphasis on the M.
Yeah, it's like Emma there.
Yeah. Okay. Voluptuous is a whole different beast there. I haven't tackled that one there.
Oh my god, gorgeous.
And, we have models ranging from, they're 100 odd pounds and, very thin or in very good shape, to on the voluptuous side of the scale there. And every one of us is beautiful in our own way. Yes. And there's an amazing story I'm going to tell you that relates to that in just a little bit. Okay. Yeah, so hang on to that. Okay. We'll come back to that. So body positivity was one. The other one was that I wanted to show there's a stereotypical image of, particularly bigger bearded men. Yeah. You'll see those memes all the time. It's like, a real man is and then a certain whatever. Yeah. And I think those are garbage. Yeah. Yeah. So definitely, a beard, it's hair growing from your face. Yeah. It in no way defines or dictates, your level of masculinity or your worth as a man. Mm-hmm. So that's just a fun thing. It's a vanity thing and that's all it is. Sorry to disappoint, but that's, I don't draw any power from this.
Oh, darn. I thought you were going to go to like a glitter beard thing.
Oh, well, we can talk about glitter beards later. Okay. Yeah, that's how I get my power. Okay. But the other one is that we wanted to send a message that masculinity and the definition of what a man is is not contingent on what a person looks like. Yeah. And it can be fun, it can be whimsical. Okay. So if you want to be wearing a flower crown, if you want to be blowing kisses, if you want to be holding hands, if you want to be affectionate and showing, like I can with a guy friend, I can hug him, I can hold his hand, in a platonic way or a non-platonic way. It's all cool. Yeah. I can give, someone can kiss another man, and they are no less or more of a man than I am here. Yeah. So all of that is garbage. It's a layer of garbage that we put on ourselves as a society. So we wanted it in a fun way. Like this wasn't like we sat down in a committee saying, here are the social causes we want to accomplish here. I'm just like, let's have fun and let's break through some gender stereotypes and sort of bend some gender norms. I don't even if I've used words or not. I'm not sure.
No, that's good because
okay, I've used words. Yeah, I word good sometimes.
Word good. Word good. So it sounds like really what you did was use like without having to kind of preach to people, as you've been able to use playfulness and imagination to get your point across.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where words fail, the images can tell a great story here. And we wanted to tell a fun story, and there's a purpose to it. And like I said, it wasn't intended to be a no putting down, sexy firefighters, sexy whatever. That wasn't the point of this. Yeah. It was to have fun, and the reaction that we were having in those photos, that joy, what was obviously hilarious, is what's been mirrored back to us every time someone responds. When you reached out to me there, I could almost picture you screaming and writing it there.
I was like, I found them on the internet. I can reach him. He has messaging and capabilities. Usually I have to go underwater and sing to the mermaids to find them, but you had a Facebook account.
There you go. So, it's 2017.
Yeah, it's so great. So everybody's so you have these calendars coming out, which by the way, you've had a huge response to.
It's been insane, yeah.
So your initial, and the whole point is to raise money, which is awesome because then you'll raise more money for this charity. But the calendars are not out yet, right?
So, correct. So they're on pre-order right now, but literally, what are we now, the 12th of November?
Yeah.
So November the 18th, now we're hosting our launch event, which is in St. John's, Newfoundland.
Yeah.
So up to now, it's been all pre-orders online.
Okay.
We ship internationally. And at my last count, there was about 20 or 21 different countries around the world.
Mm-hmm.
So most of the orders are Canada and the U.S. Mm-hmm. But like as of yesterday, there was an order from Malaysia. We got Japan.
Yeah.
Australia's certainly repping there.
Yeah.
Australians love the MerB'ys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I can imagine they would. What are you trying to say? Just tell me.
I just wanted the website.
Oh, okay. So I'll get them at the end. Don't worry. Oh, should I put it now?
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be good to keep
it?
repeating it.
Okay, I'll just cut this part out because I couldn't say what you were saying.
Yeah.
I was like, you can just tell me. I'll edit it.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, sorry. Pick it back up. So Australians love it.
Australians absolutely love it.
Yes.
So BuzzFeed Australia picked it up there.
Okay.
And actually, a fellow from the Australian High Commission in Ottawa,
Yeah.
which is Canada's capital, reached out to me saying he'd seen it. And he just wanted us to know that in Australia's Parliament there will be a MerBy calendar.
Oh, that's so good.
Or sorry, in some
Yeah.
government office.
Yeah.
Some-
No, just say Parliament. I think that's great.
Let's say Parliament.
Let's just call it
I
Parliament.
mean, who's gonna know?
Okay,
right?
exactly. Who's gonna know?
I mean-
So if people are itching right now and they're like, I have to buy this, you can pause the podcast right now, pause the video, go to your website.
So our website is www.nl as in Newfoundland and Labrador.
Mm-hmm.
Beard and Mustache Club, so it's a mouthful. So it's Beard and Mustache Club. Now it's spelled the Canadian way, which is MOUSTACHE.
Yeah.
We don't
okay.
drop the U's
We
weirdly.
don't do that. Yeah. The Queens.
We hang on. The
Something.
U's are sacred
Yeah.
in Canada.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's nlbeardandmustacheClub.com,
Okay.
or they can look us up on Facebook.
Okay.
So if you look up, if it's like the whole @ symbol, Newfoundland, which for those who have never heard of us, it's NEW, Newfound Land.
Yeah.
But it's not pronounced Newfoundland. We hate it when people say
Yeah.
Newfoundland. It's Newfoundland.
Okay.
Yeah, like a fin.
Like a fin.
Like, it's very aquatic.
Like a fin. Yeah. Okay, so, and if they can't remember any of that, they can go to mermaidpodcast.com and we'll link you right over.
God love you. Yes, they
Yes.
can do that.
Okay, so we'll do that, and I'll
Yeah.
make sure these
Yeah.
links are there.
I was gonna Sharpie marker like the Newfoundland.
Oh,
Beard and
that's
Mus-
a beautiful
But
idea.
I'm not that tall, and
Yeah.
it would end over
It
here.
ends over here.
It'd be just weird.
Okay, yeah.
You know, you could smudge and stuff like that
Yeah.
there.
Okay, so you said that you had a good story to tell me.
So I have an amazing story to tell you.
Okay, I'm so excited.
It's a great story.
Okay.
So this this mother in St. John's, which is the city I'm from, reached out to me yesterday,
Okay.
and she said that her 7-year-old son
Yeah.
had wanted to be a merman for Halloween, but he was afraid he would be made fun of.
No!
And
Okay.
he was really bothered by it. It really affected him that
Yeah.
kids would make fun of him, and so he retired his costume.
No.
And so for him, it was like a kid wearing a superhero costume until he heard about us.
Yeah.
And he said he was so excited to see that a group of people would do this here. So he very proudly brought his costume back out there, and he was even excited about growing a beard. Now he's far away from
He's
that.
7. He can dream one day soon.
Yeah. So I had a great chat with her through Facebook.
Okay.
And so where she's local, I said, hey, we're having our lunch event on the 18th. Why don't you come out?
Yeah.
It's at a local bakery in St. John's. And I said, why don't you come out and he'll become an honorary MerBy, wear his costume. And now what he doesn't know yet, what he doesn't know, and he's probably not going to see the podcast, is that we're actually going to make him a tail as well, in his favorite color.
Oh my god!
And he'll get that at our event.
You're
on
gonna give it to
Saturday.
him, and he'll get to wear it.
He'll get to wear it.
And he gets to be a real MerBy.
He is a MerBy.
MerBy, yeah.
He is. So the conversation that I was able to have after this,
Yeah.
and so his mom was like literally sobbing. She was saying like,
And
I'm typing this
I
through
would
tears
like to, yeah.
because he was so he's through the roof. He was so excited.
Yeah.
But the fact that we were able to set an example for this young kid who otherwise probably would not have picked up a costume again.
Right.
I mean, kids are so impressionable,
Right.
and particularly when you've been shamed into not doing something,
Yeah.
it's very hard to pick that up. And we've
Yeah.
all experienced that sometime in our life in
Yeah.
some context.
Yeah.
And the fact that in a very small way, we made it okay for him to be whatever he wants to be.
Yeah.
If you want to be a merman, if you want to be a cat, if you want to be an office chair,
Yeah.
be an office chair.
Yeah.
Be the best office chair that the world's ever
Totally.
seen.
Yeah.
You want to be a merman?
Yeah.
Kids, be a merman.
Be a merman!
Or be a mermaid.
Hey.
Whatever. We don't
Or
discriminate.
just put on a tail and call yourself Mer something.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if it's like Christmas, just be Mer.
Mer. Just Mer.
That was terrible.
That was
That was so
terrible.
bad. That was so bad. Feel free to edit that out.
Okay, but that is a beautiful story.
It
so
is.
like that's so wonderful too, because you started out with just having like a germ of an idea, something you wanted to support. A bunch of people show up and are excited. They have a good time doing it.
Yeah.
And then like somewhere far out there in the world, there's some young child who like will now be able to express themselves fully.
We've had so here's the thing. Typically, the comment section especially on Facebook is like, a cesspool of the internet.
Totally, yeah.
And you go there if you hate yourself enough, you'll go there to feel a little bit better because there's people worse than you.
Yeah.
That's really got really dark there.
Yeah.
This is probably the only time I'll ever say it's been such a joy to dive into the comments. It's been like 99.9 repeating percent wonderful, amazing comments.
Yeah.
And it's not just the surface level stuff that you expect. Like, yes, there's the people who like absolutely love beards and think like, and you can almost see them like breathing heavy on their screens, or like feel it there. Most of it though has been like people have been very pointed in their comments, saying that it's great that you're taking this fun and whimsical take on what masculinity looks like, and seeing these men showing a more vulnerable side there, which is exactly what we wanted. The fact that we're supporting mental health, through this amazing nonprofit, so Spirit Horse NL, amazing. And people like there's one fellow from France reached out and said, a friend of his does a similar type of therapy there. Oh, so cool. Even if this particular nonprofit, which is amazing, but it's located in a small town in Canada, in Newfoundland, Canada. But there's mental health programs all over the world. Yeah. So anything, and there's people who are involved. Some of the MerB'ys themselves have their own significant stories of mental health, and it's not a cold. It doesn't go away. Yeah. You have it, and it's part of you. And there's a huge stigma on that there. So we can, in a respectful way, despite it being whimsical here, we're certainly not mocking anyone. Right. But we want to raise a boatload of money for this particular nonprofit. And if the secondary benefits are people talk a little bit more about mental health issues and some of the stigmas surrounding that, I was having a discussion with my sister just yesterday. And just in the difference between the term of died from suicide versus committed suicide. And that is, I think, one of them, like for me, I'm fortunate that I'm not afflicted by any kind of debilitating mental illness, but not so long ago, I would have just freely used the term, so-and-so committed suicide. Until you think about it, it's like, cancer, you don't commit cancer, and when mental health, or mental illness is seen as an optional item that just get over it, well, that's one of the more basic stigmas surrounding it there. So as we change the conversation, if we can help a little way, like we're certainly not like, I'm not smart in many ways. I don't know a lot about mental health issues, but I know that they're serious, they're out there, and if we can do a little bit to help raise some awareness and change some of the conversations, I think it's worth everything, and it's worth being shirtless for quite a long time. And if I need to put on a tail and help a good cause, I will put a tail on.
Yeah, no, I think that's awesome. Yeah. What I also love is that you've kind of harnessed the power of community, of your buys, of your friends, of the power of mythology and imagination and play to be able to rally around people who need a boost and need some help, and to bring awareness to the issue, but also to awareness that all of us might be affected in some way, or have this experience in our lives, or be touched by somebody who does. Right. And then also that helping people can be fun. It's not just while there touches on some darker issues, it can also be really fun to be socially aware and socially prolific.
So the goal, what I realized after the fact, I didn't really have the language for it before, but in speaking to a number of my friends on kind of understanding the success of what we've been doing, because it was really unprecedented. Yeah. We had no idea starting.
You have 4 million views on BuzzFeed.
It's insane. Yeah. It's great. Yeah. But we never would have expected to get this big. Totally. So it's great. But when I was trying to figure out, I wasn't doubting it. It is what it is. It's why are people finding this so interesting? And it's all about telling a story. Mm-hmm. So if we had come out of the gate saying buy the calendar, there's no story there. That's someone on the street handing you something saying buy this. Mm-hmm. What people are buying is the story. So we created a compelling story without really knowing that we were doing that. We connected with people. It was a fun, engaging thing. Yeah. The reasons that you were screaming and reaching out to me is the same reason why you and other people have bought this calendar, is that you love the story. And it's just this bonus that there's actually a really great cause behind it. Yeah. And arguably, most people would have bought it anyways, even without the support of the charity. That was just an added bonus. Right. But we can't sell the charity aspect, the fundraising one, without having a really nice packaging. Yeah. And so so a lesson to anyone trying to do something. I'm not saying do it the way we did it. Right. It may work well, but if you're trying to do something really good, focus on the story you're trying to tell. Make that fun, make it exciting, connect with people, and then when they buy the story, they'll buy the product. Yeah. whatever follows there.
That is a really good business advice and life advice too.
Yeah.
To like, whoa.
Yeah.
Okay, so speaking of storytelling, I do, because this is the Mermaid podcast, and we all know I'm obsessed with mermaid mythology.
Yeah.
You said there is a local author and folklorist who gave you some real information about the history of mermen.
There, absolutely. So,
okay, so what do you know?
So Dale Jarvis.
Okay. Hi, Dale.
Hey, Dale. So Dale Jarvis is a very well-known folklorist in Newfoundland. He does a number of things there. He writes about folklore all the time. And when this project started, he reached out to me and he said there's actually some, and it's actually in the calendar as well, but there's some specific folklore regarding Newfoundland mermen, and it's unique. And so every region of the world has their own, like mermaids, as you know, and mermen are, I mean, it's, okay, I'm going to get to this point here. A friend of mine was traveling in Iran, and she saw like this carvings of mermaids, or I'm not sure if it was mermen or mermaids, that dates back like 2,500 years or so. So it's like ancient Assyrian art, and I'm sure you know all that folklore there. So every culture has something like that. So for Newfoundland, which really for Europeans in Newfoundland goes back only a couple hundred years. The Newfoundland mermen are known for their incredible good looks.
Oh, amazing! What a coincidence!
Who would have thought? And just coincidentally, they're long black beards.
No way!
Right? I know, and I promise you, I didn't write this myself. Okay. I'm like Dale, shut the front door.
Shut the front door, Dale. I was born to be a merman.
Tell me again, Dale.
Tell me again how good looking they are.
So as compared to like some of the differences are the Scottish and Irish mermen. They're known for a bit more. Well, basically, they dive underwater looking for rum in the wreckage of sunken ships. Yeah. And so they'd have like really reddish eyes, and they enjoy a lot of rum. Yeah. Very pale, known for their green moss-like beards. Yes. Very attractive in their own right. That's there. Great. Yeah. Yeah, sure. And so it's interesting what the folklore is, and that it's very specific, and it happens to be there is a Newfoundland specific story to tell. Okay. Yeah.
That's cool.
So I'll be happy to. I really loosely paraphrase all of that there. I'll share with you the full folklore of that as well.
Okay, we'll have that at mermaidpodcast.com, which will also link to your calendar and your club. So you can read more about that if you want that. Yeah. Okay, cool. So I think I want to ask you some reader questions or listener questions now, if you don't mind.
Sure thing.
And then I might have a couple more things. Okay, so I was asking people what they wanted to ask you, and boy, they never stop surprising me. Okay, so the first one is, as a merman, how do you maintain your beard with all that salt water? It's very hard on hair.
It is very hard on hair. Yeah. So the important thing is that salt can be terrible on hair. Yeah. What you want to do is there's a lot of beard care products you can use. Okay. So oils. Okay. So a lot of things, it's like the hair on your head. Okay. I mean, like salt water or even shampooing will strip it quite a bit. Yeah. I probably don't need to talk to mermaids about hair care.
Yeah, I know. People want to know your beard.
You know what's up there. Yeah. So there's keeping hydrated, just regular water. Anything that keeps your body healthy keeps your hair healthy. Okay. So for general beard care, that's a good thing. Okay. If you're eating good foods, your hair will grow healthier. Yep. And the other one is using oils, a beard oil or beard balms, which are actually equally as important for the skin underneath, because just like you can get dandruff in your head or dry skin, you can get that underneath here. So to prevent an itchy beard, which is actually just the itchy skin underneath, and keeping the hair in really good shape, I personally use a beard balm. Okay. I'm going to give a little plug to my buddy Kyle of Newfound Beards.
Hi, Kyle.
Hey, Kyle. Kyle is actually one of the MerB'ys as well.
Oh, he is. Do you know which month he's in?
He's in a couple. Let's see here. You will see, actually, in one of the videos, the viral videos, he's the one with the long flowing hair, which is unfortunately a wig. Yeah. And he does like a little flex like that as well. Okay. And he's wearing like a pink and yellow tail in that.
I'm going to go look for
him. He's in a couple different months there. You'll notice him. He's by far a much more attractive merman than I am.
Really? I don't know.
Yeah. I have a little tail envy looking at Kyle.
Okay, a little bit, yeah. I know when you see another mer person and they have a tail and you are jealous of their tail, it's a real problem.
Yeah. So look up Newfound Beards. Okay. And you can buy. He sells oil and balms. Okay. And there's some good stuff there.
Go buy Kyle's balm for your beard.
Yeah. Actually, incidentally, if you're using beard oil, it's also really great for your skin and tattoos.
So, there you have tattoos. And sometimes mermen have tattoos.
Yes.
So you can put them on your beard and your tattoos.
There you go. You can put it on your skin, it'll make it really pop there. Okay. I don't personally do that. Okay. I'm not like oiling myself in front of a mirror.
Okay.
I mean, you know what? You do you. I'm sure there's people
who
are...
Why not? It's like... All right. It's awesome. All right. So, what is your favorite thing about being a merman?
You know, it's opportunities like this.
Yeah.
The great thing is that when you step outside of your comfort zone, a lot of new things open up to you. So, I mean, I'm a fairly confident person, not by nature necessarily, but by pushing my boundaries. And I've done that over the last, like, maybe 10 years or so of my life. Certainly it's accelerated in the last little bit. Like, this is not something that I would have normally done. So, like, I have an idea to go out in the city today and maybe, like, be a MerB'y in you know, New York City. When you do this here, you create opportunities for yourself. So within this club and connecting with a bunch of fellows dressed as MerB'ys, I formed some friendships. People I might have incidentally known or very casually known, or even strangers. And the fact that we can all go shoulder to shoulder and do something fun and ridiculous for a great cause, I formed some great new friendships. So that's for me one of the most important parts of doing this.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, and then so as we were saying, this calendar and what people have seen of it so far has inspired some romantic feelings. So these are romantically inspired questions, which I also like because, as everybody who's been listening to the podcast knows, I just published a romance novel that features a merman. It's called King of the Sea. Okay. And he's very burly. Yeah.
Or not called Plenty of Fish? Or?
No, but it's called King of the Sea. He's got a beard. He has a beard, and he's burly. So one of our listeners wanted to know, what do MerB'ys do on a first date?
Well, we never fish and tell, I guess.
I don't fish and tell.
That's
terrible. Fair.
No,
I like it. We're going to stop there because you can't have a better answer to that. Mermen don't fish and tell, guys. Okay, and then also one woman we were talking to, she's a mermaid, but her boyfriend's a human, and she doesn't know how to refer to him besides human. She thinks it's just like a boring name. Yeah. She don't know if you had any other ideas for, like, if a merman were to date a human lady, could they call him a MerB'y? Like,
let me go back to now how we're seeing Splash back in the 80s. Now, how did this go down?
Well, it was Daryl Hannah, Sheeta Tail, Tom Hanks was like, I don't know what your problem is. You have to leave.
You know what? I guess my best advice is love is love.
That's true.
Why do we focus on labels?
Yeah, you're right.
What does it matter?
You're right. Just call them your love.
Legs, fins.
Legs, fins. Yeah. Just don't fish and tell, guys. That's really good. Really good love advice. All right, awesome. Okay, so those were our listener questions. Thanks, everybody. If you have more, leave a comment, and we'll be happy to answer them.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to ask you something I ask most people on the podcast is, so now that you have had the experience of being a merman and you've found worldwide success, and you've gotten to wear a tail now, which you hadn't done before, right?
I had not. Cross that off the bucket list.
So what do you think it means to be a merman? Like, what do you think that, I mean, I know it means putting on a tail, but what do you think, like, the intrinsic quality is that makes you a merman?
So I guess the best way to answer that here is that our club in this calendar, the whole dressing up as a merman was just a vehicle to do some social good. So as far as, being a merman, I don't know how deep I can get into the psychology of it here, because I can't say, I may get strung up for saying this here, is that we're not as connected to being merman as part of our psychology as an ongoing basis as probably a lot of the mermaids and a lot of mermen around the world are. But I think regardless of what you're doing, whether we did like woodland creatures or whatever it is be a good human. Do good things for others. Make that your focus. And when you do that here, when you focus on that, it doesn't really matter what you're wearing. So it's a matter of, because the whole point of this was to support a good cause and do good things and send a positive message, it became less relevant of what we looked like and what we were doing. If the focus had been, okay, we're going to be mermen, and then it would have attracted, people who are doing it for just the costume, for just the look, for the vanity aspect. And I think we were able to find a deeper connection with the people being part of this by focusing on the longer term goals. So I don't know if in any part of that I answered your question.
I think you did, actually. I think that was really beautiful. Because I think a lot of things that mermaids are concerned with is things like ocean awareness and stuff. But there's a lot of good that you can do in the world as a mer person, no matter what your focus is. There's a lot of opportunity to do good in the world and to bring your friends into it and to have fun.
So now, I mean, I can this young fellow who was too afraid to put on his merman suit. If I can help someone step outside the comfort zone and not be afraid of other people's opinions of them, I will wear this tail every day if I can help someone else. And from the feedback I've gotten from the other folks that have been part of this calendar here, they would hands down do the same. A lot of them would never have dreamed of doing anything like this on their own.
Yeah.
But the fact that we're able to do it together, and now that they're seeing the impact it has on others, again, it's not so much about them channeling being a merman. It's a matter of them showing their confidence in themselves, in whatever their body shape is, and whatever their gender identity is, and whatever, insert any number of 100 different type of labels that we have. They are human beings who just really don't care what other people think about them, at least in this context here, and they want to reach out and connect with some stranger in the world somewhere and saying it's okay, you be you, and you be your best person. You be your best self.
Yeah, that's awesome. So being a MerB'y is being your best self.
There you go.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm so glad that we had you on here. I'm going to tell everybody to go buy your calendar. It's for a good cause. Also, it's going to look so good on our walls.
Right?
Yeah. Like, I already ordered 3.
Yeah.
So go to mermaidpodcast.com. I will have the links to everything on our blog. I'll also put it in the description of this video and this audio version. And if you have any questions, let us know. We love to answer them. If you want to read a romance novel, I'll be selling mine online. If you want to buy a calendar, you can buy it. And if you want to download our Mermaid Sequest stickers and iPhone game, those links will also be everywhere that this is posted. So thank you so much for coming swimming all the way down here to New York City.
My absolute pleasure and joy. I'm so glad you reached out, and this has been such a great experience.
Yeah, this is super fun.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.